My name is Nessreen Hafez. I'll be giving you 3 sessions regarding technology, new strategies for teaching science and how to become a better science teacher. I am a dentist to start with. I'm a dentist, but I quit dentistry 15 years ago because of my passion for teaching. Okay? وأهلا وسهلا بكم.
دكتور الأسنان وساب التدريس من 20 سنة، ساب الطب عشان خاطر
I would really appreciate if you turn off your mobiles and put them silent, please. And I will put mine myself. These handouts are for the entire day. It's not only for the first session.
خش على الموقع شوف المواعيد بتاعتها امتى ومين اللي مستضيفين وكده. هم بس عاملينها للمدارس الرسميه لوحدها. والله مش عارف بس مستضيفين انهي فئه.
Did anyone not receive a handout? These handouts are for the entire day. It's for the 3 sessions together. Okay? Okay. The 3 sessions are about something called the 5E instructional model. I'm not telling you anything about it right now. When we go through the process, I'll tell you where does the 5E instructional model fit. Okay, first of all, I would really appreciate if you do a card plate on the table with your name, just like mine. Do you have white paper on the table? You don't have white paper on the table. I'll give you white paper. For your name, just like this one. Just like this one. It's my name. That's my name. Okay? I will give you one. It's really small. I'll give you a marker, just hold on. You have one ready. It's a small one, but please have them on the desk so we can easily communicate. Probably by the end of the day. معلش, I'll call out the names. Excuse me. عبد النبي أنا مي مراد اوكي مي محمد ميادة منال دي منال محمد
مين برضه محمد مين؟
محمد يس اوكي مؤمن منال محمد عثمان دي فعلا منال محمد مرتين منى حلي محمود محمد محمد السيد محمد السيد اسكندرية محمد زكريا محمد السيد علي محمد من بورسعيد محمد محمد محمود عبد الغني محمود محمد عبد الغني بورسعيد اوكي محمود محمد عبد الغني ده صح ده متدور مرتين مكتوب مرتين محمد ابراهيم رشاد منال جاد الرب she's not here احنا نادينا على مين منال صح؟ اوكي محمد حمدي مصطفى عبد الجابر حسن مروة محمد ليلى مروة
لا مروه عبده.
مروة عبده أنا آسفة جدك أهلا محمود هاشم محبوب خط إيه كل منى السيد مصطفى حاجة من أسوان أيوه محمد رشيدي ده محمود رشيد من البحر الأحمر منال إبراهيم في 3-4 منال دي حاجة منى إبراهيم محمد عبد الحميد في مشكلة محمد وحاجة أنا مش قادرة أقراها زكي واسكندرية محمد إكرام صح حضرتك أهلا نانسي في حد ما سمعش اسمه؟ مفيش حد كل سمع اسمه؟ لا نرجع بقى للموضوع. Now, the entire thing is about new strategies in teaching science. I know you have an idea. The past 2 days you've been taking strategies in general, right? Okay. Well, it is related. يعني في آخر الأمر they're all integrated together, but in specific we're talking about science in specific because science has to do with something called exploring. Any ideas what exploring is? Yes, being creative, استكشاف بنستكشف. Okay, did everyone write the nameplate? Do you have your nameplates? Okay, the objectives of this session in particular is know. Science is all about knowledge. But to know what? How to engage. Does anyone know what engage means?
ترتبط.
مش بالضبط. Engage. يعني if I get you engaged.
مشاركة.
Involved. Very good. Involved. Interested or involved. Okay? And science is the best area for this. Science is the best area for involvement and engagement. Now, do engaging problems involving science. What do you think of the word engagement in a classroom? any ideas? We're doing everything practical. We're not doing anything theoretical. All the theoretical part is in the papers. I do believe that lecturing is very boring. I used to be a very difficult student myself. If anybody lectures, I just fall asleep. Okay, so we're not doing anything. I just want you to comprehend the word engaging, because it's all about engaging. Do engaging problems. This is, you provide the student with a problem, and then you let them, or you keep them involved by raising their curiosity. Curiosity يعني ايه؟
الوعي.
يعني أيوة الفضول هو ده الموضوع. If you can teach a student through الفضول, which is curiosity, you are an excellent science teacher. Okay? Feel empowered. I'm not reading the last part because I do not want to go through the 5E model. We'll do it when we go through all experiments, or 1 or 2 experiments, then I'll explain the 5E model. And this is because I really believe that we should not do lecturing. Okay? Now, the roadmap for session 1. I'm not sure if you have an idea what a roadmap is. Maybe my colleagues from yesterday and the day before. What do you think a roadmap is? It's like an agenda. يعني ايه agenda? أجندة الكلاس هنعمل فيه. Okay? تخطيط بالضبط. Now, number 1, the parking lot. Does anyone know what the parking lot is? I think you have an idea. Yes. Well, a parking lot is a strategy. Instead of interrupting the teacher every time with a question, which always happens, especially in science, you just do what? You have a chart by the side, and then you have some sticky notes, and then, of course, I did not give out the sticky notes, which is too bad, okay? Sticky notes, and you stick the questions throughout the session, and then we leave some time at the end of the session for you to answer all questions. Okay, the second part is setting the norms. Now, let's set the norms together. Does anyone know what norms is?
Yes.
I'll explain it later on, but I want a heads up about norms. Yes. Okay. Now, it seems we have very, very big groups. Very big groups. Are we going to deal as 3 groups كده صعبة كده العدد عدد كتير. طيب. I want you on a piece of paper to write one value, each and every one of you, one value for a successful classroom. One value you can think of for a successful classroom. I'll give you 2 minutes to do this.
Individually?
Yes, individually. And then we'll do group 4. One value. No, don't be sticky notes. You have paper with you.
Language alone, so the Arabic and English. Number 2, coordination.
Okay, I want you now, is everyone done with at least one value? Of course, there should be some common values. Everybody agrees upon certain values in the classroom. I want you in groups to share, so I'll ask each group alone about what set of values did they come up with, and cross out the common ones. I mean, if you all agree on, for example, not interrupting, or no interruption, then this is 1. Do you see what I mean? Okay, please. Okay, this table, please. Okay, can you tell me the values you came up with?
Quietness and clear voice.
Okay, clear.
Voice.
Okay, what else?
Cooperation.
Cooperative, being cooperative together. Okay.
Language. أيوة بنتكلم عربي.
Absolutely. What else? Are these the two values you came up with? Fadali?
Respect others. Respect others.
Respect others? Okay. Of course, this is very, very important as well. Okay? Very good. Be confident. That's a very good thing. I like this a lot. I like this a lot. If you encourage your students to be confident at all times, you would have absolutely no problem. How many people have encountered students who are very shy and timid? And even if they know the right answer, they wouldn't come up with it. Everybody encounters this, right? And you have other people who would say something totally out of sorts, وحاجة ملهاش أي لازمة, and they're full of confidence. Excuse me?
Equals intuition.
Okay, this is absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Confidence and motivation. I'm very impressed. Okay, this table, please.
Clear voice.
Okay, we have this already.
No cell phones.
No cell phones. Very good. Okay. And
No side talk.
no side talks. Very good one as well. So this is no chit-chatting as well. No side talks. Chit-chatting means that. Yes, absolutely. We always have this.
Chit-chatting.
Chit-chatting. If you're a chatterbox, يعني مبطليش كلام. رجالة. Okay, what else? Anything else?
No interruption.
Okay, that's very important as well. And last one.
ممكن
Okay, but norms has to do. Kida, we're talking about strategy. Do you see what I mean? Does anyone have anything extra?
Language mix it Arabic and English.
Okay, absolutely, absolutely. So let's be bilingual. What does that mean? Please stop me. Please stop me. إذا في أي حاجة أنا قلتها that you don't really get. حتى terminology أو حتى لفظ English عادي, I'd be very glad to explain. I'd be very glad. Yes, it's just يعني هو الموضوع بس عشان يعني أنا لو اديت المحاضرة بالإنجليش فإحنا كده بنساعد بعض إن إحنا to raise our linguistic bar. Okay? ده ليس إلا. لكن يعني العربي we do this all the time. فإحنا we want to raise our linguistic bar يعني our language. That's it. Okay? وطبعا مع الاحتفاظ بقيمة لغتنا العربية اللي هي أهم حاجة خالص. Okay? طيب في حاجة bilingual Arabic and English. Now, I want to tell you anything I do in this room for today It's a strategy that could be applied in the classroom. It's a strategy that could be applied in the classroom. I'll go over this by the end of the session, but I want you to put your heads up in anything I do, because we're going to talk about the list of strategies by the end of the first session. Okay? So, ركزوا بس اللي بيحصل عشان I'll discuss this with you and I'll give you a heads up about how to apply this in the classroom. Okay, so we're done with setting the norms. Now we get to do the icebreaker part. Okay. Oh, oops. Okay, our icebreaker today is called inner and outer fives. يعني I thought the room was a bit bigger, بس يعني اتصدمت ان الروم صغيرة. So I will take people from 1 to 6. Remember the number I assigned from 1 to 6. Remember your number. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. أنا اديت لحضرتك نمرة. 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I want you to stand. معلش هنتزاحم شوية. I want you to stand all the ones together. All the ones together.
وانس اللي هو رقم واحد بس. رقم واحد بس.
One only.
تعالى يا مؤمن تعالى يا مؤمن.
No. All the ones. أي حد اديته رقم 1 يبقى واحد. أي حد اديته رقم 1. أي حد اديته رقم 1. How many people took the number 1? 2 3 ما اديتش لحضرتك رقم؟ طب
بدأنا بيه
طب نعتبر ان
حضرتك هي بدأت
بدأت
نمبر
ان انا انتهيت
نمبر 6
اعتقد على حد ذاكرتي المتواضعة. Okay, كده احنا we have 5 people for number 1. I want you to make a small circle, stand next to one another, please. All the ones on this side. Yes, please. All the ones on this side. Okay. All the 2s in the middle. All the 2s. Who took number 2? Number 2. Number 2. Number 2. حضرتك زي ما حضرتك موجود. مفيش حد تاني number 2? Okay. Number 3. Number 3. Thank you very much. Now, number 4. Who's number 4? Okay. Now, how should we do this? Can you pay attention for a minute? You should, the number 1s should do a small circle, but facing outwards. يعني المفروض تبقوا باصين لبره. Circle يعني دي number 4 بعض. Okay? Thank you very much. بس احنا نيجي بقى شوي في الباص عشان التانيين هنهاروا. هنخش على الأوضة اللي جنبنا. Okay? And then that's number 1, 2, 3.
No, 4.
4. Now 4 will do the outer circle. يعني حضرتك for example تيجي تقف قدامه وحد قدامه مش كده تعرف الواسع شوية معلش. كده شوية. Who's number 4? Okay. Pick a part. This is number 4. This is the outer circle. Then I want number 5. 5 should be around number 2. Yes. 5 should be around number 2. حضرتك ايه number 6? 5 should be around number 2. And then 6, this is 3, right? Number 6 should form an outer circle around number 3.
لا حط ده في الأولوية.
Okay. Now you should have an outer circle of 1, 2. Can I? Excuse me. Excuse me, everyone. We should have 3 inner circles of number 1, 2, and 3, and then 3 outer circles. Number 4 should be around number 1. Number 5 should be around number 2. Number 6 should be around number 3. And then you should have a partner to share a successful science teaching experience. Now I want you to share a successful science teaching experience with your partner, please. Okay? Something you did very successful in science. What's wrong with this group? في بعضاء في بعضارة شوي نعمل inner circle و outer circle. حضرتك وحضرتك It's not بص حضرتك في number 2 في number 2 المفروض زي حضرته كده وحضرته و2 يبقوا ظهر بعض. اوكي؟ كده مظبوط برضه كده مظبوط. Okay, number 2 يبقى قصاده number 5. That you should share a successful teaching sciences. حاجة انت عملتها في الساينس is very successful. Yes. Okay? You are not why? طب ينفع حضرتك ممكن معلش؟ Share a successful science teaching experience.
اسمع بس مش نتكلم.
Are you done, everyone? Are you done? Are you done? Please, excuse me? Excuse me. Now, apart from Ustaza May, please move to another partner and tell them what you knew from your previous partner. I mean, if you heard something very, very successful from your previous partner, please share it with someone else in the outer and inner circle. Do you get the point? So you should not be with the same partner. You should swap partners. Yes, you should shift 2 clockwise مع الساعة.
الساعة تمشي كده. الساعة تمشي كده.
Is everybody done with the sharing, please? Yes, please have a seat. Thank you. Is everybody seated? يا ريت Okay, let's take a significant. What does significant mean? Significant means important أو مميزة. I want a significant significant teaching experience from each table. حضرتك منال أستاذة منال صح؟ أستاذة منال, she will explain something she thinks is really of great significance.
سنة 5 في كلمتين شبه بعض في المنهج بتاع بالذات السويل. السويل فيه mud and clay. Compare between mud and clay. Anyone know?
حد عارف? Anyone can compare between mud and clay? عامة this is something that they're very alike.
Mud and clay.
طين وغريب.
طب اتفضل.
ايه الفرق بقى؟
الاثنين مكتوبين في الكتاب، اوكي؟ الاثنين طامي، اوكي؟ انا عايزه العلم يفرق بين الطامي والطين. انا قدامه طامي وطين، هيقول متى ده كلي متى يقول ده مط.
الطامي
اوكي؟ ده اللي انا قصدي عليه.
طب وحضرتك شرحتي ده ازاي؟
انا لغايه دلوقتي انا سالته لان انا ما كنتش عارفه.
طب وحد جاوب في السؤال ده عمل حاجه مميزه؟
قال لي الاجابه بتاعته.
طب ممكن حضرتك تقول لنا الاجابه اللي حضرتك؟
هو بالنسبه للمض بيختلف عن الكلي اللي هو الطمين. المض بتكون الماس بتاعته بتكون هيفي ثقيله. لكن الكلي بتكون خفيفه شويه. المض بيكون اللون بتاعه بيكون دارك، اما الكلي بيكون فاتح سنه.
دي حقيقه. So are we talking about something physical or chemical? حضرتك اسمك Mr. Mahmoud. What he just said, is this physical or chemical? Because we have a couple of things about it. Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
بالنسبه للعناصر المعدنيه الموجوده في التربه الكلي افضل من المض.
الكلي افضل من المد regarding العناصر المعدنيه minerals يعني minerals. Okay. Any successful teaching experience from this table, please?
I think
Anything significant? ثانية واحدة معلش. اتفضل.
I think mud has more water than clay.
I think so too, but I'm not sure. To be honest.
I am not sure.
من قال لا أعرف فقد أفتى. I'm not sure. To be honest. عشان أنا نفسي بتلخبط ما بينهم.
بالنسبه للاحتفاظ بالمياه التربه الطينيه افضل من التربه الطميه.
التربة الطينية دي اللي هي المد. Okay. Okay. Any successful teaching experience in this table? Okay. Let's listen, please. Let's listen. Thank you.
Well, in fourth grade there is yeast and how.
Excuse me. Thank you.
In fourth grade there is yeast and how it's produce carbon dioxide when we put some sugar with it.
Yes.
It's a small.
Thank you.
It's a small experiment. Student get some yeast and sugar and get a balloon, and the balloon is get bigger. And we make them know how it's the bread come like this in the oven.
Okay, what's so interesting? حضرتك اسمك Miss Mona. What's so interesting about what Miss Mona just said? She said something related to real life. She connected her experiment to real life, and that's what all the students really enjoy. They really enjoy it. من أول KGs up to secondary school. They really enjoy it. If you manage to reinforce something related to a real life experience or something they see daily, then that's where you did, what's the first word I said today? Something with an E.
Engage.
Engage. See? Thank you, Miss Mona. Anyone from this table, please? The significant teaching experience. No significant teaching experience? In science? Okay, let's go to the next one. Now, I want you to take a look. This is the first page in the handout. This is the first page in the handout. Now. Yes.
The difference between clay and mud, clay is more volatile than mud. Mud contains more water.
Wow.
Research, this is the first time to search it.
That's really good.
يعني
طبعا if we all have the feasibility of the internet in the classroom ده شيء عظيم عظيم. نتمنى ان مصر on the spot جبت لي كده. Okay, excuse me. Thank you. Now, here's where we're starting to say. اتفضلي حضرتك. أنا آسفة جدا. كويس إن حضرتك جيتي قدام عشان يعني. في حد تاني ما عندوش ورق؟ Okay, take a look at the first page, please. Now, we have a very simple experiment. it's something theoretical. We're not going to do with our hands, but we have 3 large containers, A, B, and C, having the same amount of water. Okay? The first container, and as you see, you have hot and cold cups. Okay, the hot water is all at the same temperature. They all have the same temperature, but it's hot. بغض النظر hot قد إيه. All have the same temperature. However, cold cups are at room temperature. The question is, which one is the hottest container? I want you to think your heads up together with the group and then come up with the answer. This is group work, please. Group work, please. Okay, you have the sheet. Read first. The sheet will introduce you to the situation. I said it orally, but it's introducing you to the situation. And you have a spacing. You have a spacing where you are going to order from the warmest to the coolest beaker containers. A, B, and C. I'll discuss it in order.
صدق 3-1
انا بقول كده 3-1
هو الهوت مش جايب درجته كام؟
بص ده هوت هوت وكولد دول مع بعض يفضلوا هوت خلاص 2 كولد 3 هوت 2 هوت 2 كولد مع بعض يفضلوا واحد هوت كل واحد ما ينفعش
بص عشان
انا هسيب لك الكرسي ده كرسي لا ما هسيبه لك يا شيخ
لا انا عايز
انا فاهمك انت عايز ايه.
انا مش عايز
معلش يا مستر سنة كده لا مستر معلش
رأيه بقول لك ايه هي قالتها من شويه ما قال لا اعلم
ماشي ممكن تيجي شويه كده يعني بحس انا مش عاوزك تبقى ظهرك ماشي
Okay, this is our parking lot. Someone put where is it? I forgot to put it on the phone. Can you put it here? Okay, are you done? Supposedly? Everyone is done? Okay. This is where the session starts. Now, I want this group to tell me what did you come up for as an answer. The hottest one is A, then B, then C. Does anyone disagree? Any disagreements? Objections? Okay.
All of this are equal.
You think they're all equal?
Yes.
Okay. Does anyone agree?
All this is
Okay, does anyone have an answer to this? If anyone disagrees, if anyone disagrees with the answer that they're all A, B, and C have the same temperature, can you come up with a justification for this?
What, disagree or agree?
If you agree or disagree, but maybe if you disagree with that they're all the same temperature. Do you have an explanation?
Yes.
Yes, anyone? Okay, I'll give you a turn.
100. We don't make summation. It's the same temperature. 100 equals 100. 100 equals 100. The same. Minus 25, 35. 100. 25. Yes. So the same. We don't make summation.
Okay, does anyone have any other? Okay, you can, of course. If you have a good explanation, I'll find the benefit.
This and this get out with this and this. This equal number n. This get out with this and this equals.
Okay. Any other explanation? اتفضل حضرتك. Let's listen to one another, please. Let's listen to one another.
I think in the first case, there is one cup only hot. So the temperature of the container A is the same temperature of the cup A. But hot plus hot, this means one cup equal hot. As my friend says, if this 100 degree and this 100 degree. So the two is 100 degree. But by mixing with the cold one, the temperature decreases. Also, hot, they are the same hot. But the amount of cold water, now I can recognize some. A is the hottest one. I agree. Because no mixing cold water. But the understanding mixed with me between B and C. At the first, I came to her to tell you that A is hottest, then B, then C. But now, I can't decide this. The first thing I can decide is A is the hottest.
That's being very clear. Thank you very much. Okay, if I had a student like you, I'd be very, very impressed. Okay? Now the answer to this is, well, everyone at the beginning, let's listen to one another, please. Everyone at the very beginning would have their heads up together, and as you can see in the sheet, you have somewhere where it says the warmest to the coolest, and then the other one is water in all three containers is the same temperature. The answer to this is A is the hottest, B is a bit cooler, and C is the coolest. Okay? Now, so the ranking is, the order is A, B, and C. Now turn to the next page, please. ظهر الورقة. Please. Thank you. Okay. Let's take a look at the second part, which says part 2. Now the question says, rank the amount of available heat energy in the water containers A, B, and C. Now, I want you to put your heads together. Which one has the highest heat energy? Okay? Now, of the inner heat energy. No. The heat energy available. Which one has the highest? Which one has the lowest? I think it says from the most energy to the least energy. Energy. Energy has to do with what? Energy has to do with motion of particles. Now, at the end of the day, before I answer this, I'm not here to instruct about scientific concepts. Do you see what I mean? يعني أنا مش هنخش بقى في physics ونخش في chemistry ونخش مش هي دي خالص الobjective بتاعت السيشن. This is a strategy, and when we finish this final question, I'll explain the strategy in details. Okay, now it says, which container has was it the lowest or the least?
More energy.
The most energy. So he wants the most energy. What does this table say? Let's listen to one another, please.
I think the most energy container A.
Okay.
Because as we agreed that it has the highest temperature, so it has highest energy.
Okay. This table, you think A has the highest. Okay. We have, let's assume these are two groups, very, very big group. Okay. Who said that? A is the highest and C is the lowest, is the least energy.
I think C. According to the definition of energy.
Okay, do you know anything about, can you tell us, let's be informative. The definition of energy is, in simple words, not very specific then.
وبسبب الكولوجين between particles في high energy
حضرتك الناس عظيمة. طيب عامة this has to do of course with kinetic energy. I found this question when I first encountered it a very, very confusing question. He is not talking about the highest temperature, because if we're talking about the highest temperature, then we have A by default. لنفترض ان this is 100 degrees. لنفترض يبقى container درجة حرارته كام؟ 100 degrees. يبقى لو هنتكلم على temperature, this one has the highest temperature. Yes. But he is talking about energy. And from a very modest متواضعة point of view, يبقى هو بيتكلم على الموtion زي ما says motion of particles, which is kinetic energy. Now, after taking a look at this, which one do you think would have the highest motion of energy, of particles? It's C. Why? Because at the end of the day, all molecules, they would all want to achieve what? What's this state called? Equilibrium. Okay, so this one has the toughest work to do as in the equilibrium process. To equalize temperature. فهم هنا بيتحركوا جنان. هنا أقل جنان. هنا أكتر جنان. أقل خالص. لأنهم already they're set. Do you see the point? So, at the end of the day برضو أنا بتواضع شديد لا إحنا بنشرح physics ولا chemistry ولا biology. إحنا بنشرح concept. Okay? Do you all agree? So the answer is C, D, and A. Now let's get back to this question, which is what is the 5E model. I shouldn't have cheated, but I saw your paper. Okay, let's do it's not the theoretical part. As you see, I gave you the experimental part first, and then I'll explain what the 5E model is. Now the 5E model. Now, this is the 5E instructional model. This is what the 3 sessions are talking about. We're talking about the 5E instructional model. Now, what's the first E we knew about? The first word. Engage. Now, how did we engage in this experiment, the one we just did? How did we engage? يعني أنا عندي طلبة كده and I gave them this sheet of paper. How did we engage? هتكتب الوقت الفضول صح؟ أيوة مظبوط. Engage is فضول. If you manage to engage a student, معناها you manage to raise their curiosity. فضولهم. So they have to put their heads together, which you just did, to explain and come up with an answer. So the first E was what? Engagement. Can everyone see? Can you see? Okay, so the first one is engagement. Now, the second one is exploration. Now, does anyone know what exploration is? برافو عليك. Exploration is استكشاف, which is about any مادة. It's science. It's science عبارة عن استكشاف. Now, if you're exploring something, يبقى أنا بستكشف حاجة. بستكشف من خلال حاجات كتير. Number one, it could be من خلال relating to life experiences. It could be. حضرتك Miss Mona قالت حاجة حلوة جدا regarding the yeast and the bubbles. We'll do something similar. على إن دي it's related. هي it's kitchen oriented, but it's a real life experience. The third one, when I was explaining the reasoning for us choosing ABC or CBA or whatever, that's where we do the traditional part, which is what? Explanation. So explanation is our comfort zone. طبعا احنا كلنا في اللا شعور. What do we do is we stand in a classroom. Okay, this is no offense. ده التراديشن بتاع teaching على مر العصور. ده it has nothing to do. We're trying to change this.
Yes.
But في اللا شعور we do this sometimes. When we stand and before saying anything, it's like me introducing this before explaining the previous experiment. اللي هو اخش اروح رصه كده دا بعدين نعمل experiment. Do you see where the difference is? So what did we do? I explained, I gave you the experiment, and then we're applying the theoretical part. Okay? So explanation is everyone's comfort zone. This is where you introduce new vocabulary, you give a reasoning for the reason why did you choose this order, or what's the reason why did you choose the other order, or whatever. And then elaboration. What is elaboration? Elaboration كلمة في الإنجليش معناها إن أنا إيه؟
إتقان.
مش إتقان قد ما هو شرح مفصل للموضوع. يعني هنا مثلا we could introduce terminology. يعني مثلا if I'm introducing the word kinetic energy يبقى أنا بعمل أي حتة؟ بعمل إيه؟ X plus elaboration. If I say kinetic energy, ده كده I said a terminology. But if I say kinetic energy and I go through the containers واشرح كل واحد kinetic energy بتاعه ايه وليه هو least or warmest or coolest or has the most kinetic energy, that's where you did the what? Elaboration. Now everybody's comfort zone across the world مش احنا مصريين is what? Explanation and elaboration. احنا عايزين to change this.
Yes.
Okay? عشان احنا المفروض ان احنا بنطور نفسنا. Now, at the end of the day, so how many E's was that? 4 E's. The last one is what? Evaluation. Now, how does evaluation happen? Now, evaluation it could be through one simple question. And I don't know, did you take the formative and summative assessment? You have to take. Okay. Formative assessment طبعا دي حاجة very very brief وقصيرة. And we have many formative assessments. من ضمنها ممكن يكون سؤال بنقول عليه exit ticket. يعني بمعنى ايه؟ لو أنا داخلة النهاردة I'm going to explain kinetic energy. My lesson today is kinetic energy. What I gave in heat energy, for example. What I gave you before, which was the 3 containers, ده بيعبر عن أي درس؟ kinetic heat energy, right? By the end of the lesson, بعد ما نكون عملنا ده and we did the 5E thing, the last E is called what? Evaluation. That's where you can just either give them a photocopied slip of paper with one question, or you can even write the question on the board to evaluate their understanding. You as a teacher, when you stand and all the students are sitting, putting their heads together, زي ما حضراتكم عملتوا, you are evaluating yourself. You can see who is left out وقاعد بلارة في المنطقة خالص، وفي طبعا ناس عظيمة جدا، وفي ناس في النص. And this is a very good way to identify misconceptions وأنا هشرح ده يعني إيه. Misconceptions معناها مفاهيم خاطئة. حد يبقى فاكر حاجة ولما عمل الاكسبيرمنت اكتشف حاجة تانية. Okay? This is where you fit. And identifying misconceptions, you can fit it in all E's. Identifying misconceptions is in all E's. في أول واحدة إيه كانت إيه؟ Engagement. Exploration, that's when they did the thing. And then explanation, elaboration,
in the middle.
Where is our comfort zone? Explanation and elaboration. احنا عايزين نضيف 2 اي قبل والاي الاخيره most of us do. شعرنا ام لم نشعر. ده جزء نظري بس احنا we really do it. وانا متاكده ان حضراتكم كلكم do. لما تديهم امتحان يعني كويز قصير that's an assessment. ده evaluation. اما اسال سؤال oral اروح لجروب كده واتعامل معاه oral ده برضه evaluation. Okay? If you have a question at the end of the worksheet, one single question, that's where you evaluate as well. And you as a teacher are evaluating the level of your students. أنا شايفة إن بس منى هتضرب تاني كاتبة قبلي differentiation. What's differentiation? يعني بالsimple words اللي مفهوم. إن أنا عندي طبعًا
different level of understanding.
Very good. إن إحنا عندنا قدرات مختلفة عند كل واحد. إحنا مش مفروض نتعامل عند بداية وهقول أنا ليه بقول دلوقتي differentiation مش مفروض أبداً نتعامل عند بداية المنهج. إحنا بنتعامل الطالب واقف فين وأنا هدخله الموضوع ده إزاي. So in a sheet like the one I gave you تفتكروا فين كان أسهل سؤال؟ هما سؤالين اتنين. Where was the easiest question? Number 1. But the second one was more into the detailed core of the subject. Do you see what I mean? That's where this bardo has to do with differentiation. And of course, when you do something like this, and I'll explain what does this mean. We did not yet explain what does this mean. When we do something like this, and students put their heads together, you get a very good chance of understanding the abilities of your students. Because you as a teacher will witness what they are doing. دايما هتلاقي حد راكن على الجنب، حد مهايبر، حد very clever، حد very intelligent، حد بيعمل عنده writing skills ممتازة بس يعني بيكسف يقوم يتكلم. That's where you can evaluate and differentiate among your students in an activity like this in a science classroom. Now, we have a naming for this experiment, and it's called. Okay, let's not do the naming first. Now, I'll tell you the naming after this video. Okay, I'll tell you the naming after this video. This has to do with the 5E model. بس عايزاكم تركزوا هي حاجة كوميك بسيطة جدا. أنا ببقى رأيي إن دايما في مع التواضع الشديد المدرس الشاطر البساطة في إلقاء الحاجة هي المفتاح لكل حاجة. فدي حاجة بسيطة. It's very funny, it's very small, it's very short, but it's explaining the 5E model. Now the first E was what? Engaging. Then exploring. Then our comfort zone. كلنا بنعمله. Explanation and thank you very much. And the final one برضه بنعمله. عشان تعرفوا إن أنتوا ناس عظيمة. أنتوا أصلاً you do the 5E model. بس we do it وإحنا مش عارفين. إحنا عايزين نحط الاثنين اللي قدام دول. Okay? So please take a look. It's very entertaining. إيه ده فين الصوت؟ يلا الأول. السماعات.
السماعات
مش عارفه. لا ده كان موجود، ايه اللي حصل؟
ممكن يكون الكابل مش موجود.
عندي السماعات
علي يا ابني لو ما عملتش حاجه
انا استعنت بصديقي ما كانش شغال. لا ما هو الريتم موجود بس هو اهو خلاص. لا ده فين الصوت؟
بتوقف على كمية الحرف الموليكيول عدد الموليكيولز أكتر كل ما بيكون الضغط. هنا عندك عدد الموليكيولز أكتر، عندك 3. هنا الحركة بتبقى أكتر فالضغط هتبقى أكتر. غير الحرارة، في فرق بين الحرارة وبين
هو انا اعتمدت
بس كل ما نزود درجة
الضغط في انت على فكرة كنت
Okay, okay, let's all face smiles till my friend comes.
لا بس انت بتتكلم صح الأول.
Okay, now, till the video works, did you see this experiment we did? Now, this is something called a ranking task. What does the word rank mean?
الاوردر
بالظبط. الرانك بتاعي الأولى على الفصل. ده الأوردر بتاعي على الفصل. Okay? So, a ranking task is a pen and paper activity. Has nothing to do with lab, nothing. You put your heads together as groups and you جاي عارف؟ طيب ماشي. Okay? And then you order something. It could be from the highest to the lowest, the shortest to the longest, the fastest to the slowest, for example. This is called a ranking task. Now, ranking task عندها criteria وطبعا it applies to the what model اللي احنا بنتكلم عليها؟ The 5E model.
في صوت في الاخر اهو.
طيب نرجع للranking task. So what is a ranking task? Something where you have to what? Order. Okay? You order according to what is required. It's a pen and paper activity and it's very good for the 5E, which is what? What's the first one? Engage. Okay, when you put your heads together, that's the second E, which is what? Explore. Now what is a ranking task? Ranking task is something
امبارح كانوا شغالين على اللابتوب بتاع الدكتور بعد المحاضرة اللي كان الجهاز
بس كل حاجة شغالة احنا
حاجة هنا بس ممكن أساسا ممكن تغيرها أو ممكن يكون على فكرة
اعمل دورتين الساوند شوف كنترول ساوند لو في
المشكلة ان الفيديو اللي بعديه محتاجين الصوت.
بالظبط الفيديو.
بس خد عشان ده لازم
بص انا لو لعبت يا زهر
لعبت يا زهر
بالظبط كده بص لا انجيج معناها ايه؟ معناها انك انت لا مش فضول. انجيج معناها لفت الانتباه، انما الفت انتباه
الفول يعني بتدخل في الموضوع.
بص بجذب انتباههم.
هي دي اصلا كلمه مخطوبه.
لكن عارف كلمه فضول اللي هي الكوريوسلي. الكوريوسلي هي معناها فضول. كوريوسلي اسمها كده كوريوسلي. لا ما تعرفش حاجه دي. لا شرط هي كل حاجه بس برضه
هي مصريه.
كوريوسلي.
Okay, this is applying the 5E model in a short video, and you will see these characters. They will move down, explaining in very simple, basic words what it is all about. Now, this is the ranking task. The one we did right here, is the ranking task. And we said ranking means putting in order. Okay? There are elements for a ranking task. Number one, it should be something to describe the situation. It should be something to describe the situation. And as you can see, it's a pen-paper activity. Has nothing to do with facilities in the lab. مش أي حاجة. ورقة والطالب وقلم and that's it. Okay? Number two, it's encouraging student thinking. That's where we do the first E, which is what? Engaging. Putting their heads together. That's what? Exploring. Okay. But there are criteria. يعني مش أي حاجة تبقى اسمها ranking task. Number one, there should be a description of the situation. So when I came up to you and I said you have 3 large containers, all the hot water is at the same temperature, all the cold water is at room temperature, that's when I presented the situation to you. Number two, a set of images showing different arrangements. You have a set of images. Now this is a simple one. There could be another ranking task where you have different sets of images, but they're all serving the same purpose. You are approaching the topic from different angles. Okay? Number 3, you have a place to list the rankings. Now rankings دي قلنا معناها ايه؟ Order of terms. Okay? And then a place to explain the rankings. So that's when I said rank from the warmest to the coolest. And then the last question, and then the question behind it was rank from the most energy to the least energy. But what did we do later on when we discussed the reason? That's where you have to have a place to explain the rankings. And that's where you are introducing the what? Remember, if we're talking about kinetic energy, that's where you're introducing, when you have a place to explain the rankings, that's where you come in with your comfort zone, which is what? Explaining and elaboration. Did you get the point? Okay. Now, let's get up to the next one. I want you to turn to page, this is a video, مش هقدر اطفي النور بس الفيديو ده انا عايزاكم تركزوا في كلامه جامد. هتلاقوا في page 3, 4, and 5, all the theoretical part about the 5E model, where a ranking task, if you want to reinforce what I told you. أنا قلتها in a very, very simple language. This isn't عايزين تقروا زيادة, it's all here. Okay? And it's on the Facebook page of Education First. يعني بالتفصيل بس النظري جامد. Okay? Okay, turn to page 6 please. Page 6. Page 6. You have a video analysis. Yes. Please, the video analysis. Okay, now regarding the video analysis, this is a strategy where you show the kids a video to introduce the topic or maybe to reinforce the topic. يعني مثلا ايه? For example, you presented a simple ranking task activity, and then بعد the ranking task, okay, you showed them a video. This is what we're going to do. Instead of you doing the talking, who does the talking? The video. Right. But you don't show them a video, that's not for entertainment. But it does serve an entertainment purpose. It does serve an entertainment purpose. Because if you put on a video and you don't keep your kids engaged, they're all going to fall out. خلاص, they lose track. خالص. But you have certain set of pre-prepared questions which you should prepare before. أنا عارفة طبعا إن مش كلنا عندنا الفاسيلتي إن إحنا نعمل فيديو في الفصل. بس ساعات بيكون في أوضة في المدرسة or something ممكن إن إحنا نروحها مرة أو مرتين اللي نقدر نعمله. Okay, now أنا مش عارفة الإنجليزي بتاعها هو واضح بس مش عارفة هيبقى واضح بالنسبة لكم ولا لأ. I will stop بس إيه I want you to read. Now the purpose of this video analysis is to reinforce. وطبعا بما ان موضوع النهارده is all about the 5E instructional model, so she is going to talk about the 5E instructional model بس مش بصورة نظرية. هي هتتكلم على تجربة هي عملتها in class. Okay? And it's called قبل بس ما افتح الفيديو the windsock. Now windsock يعني ايه؟ مش عارفة لو حضراتكم عارفين حاجة زي كده ولا لا، زي البول بتاع العلم، زي البول بتاع العلم. بيبقى فيه زي قماشه طويله موجوده كتير قوي في المطار، دي حقيقه موجوده في المطار. وعشان انا ساكنه في المرغني ففي واحده برضه حاطينها كده في المرغني يبقى لونها فاقع كده وتوريك اتجاه الهواء عامل ازاي. بس هم بره عشان عندهم drastic weather conditions، احنا الحمد لله مش عندنا يعني ما عندناش الحمد لله هذا الموضوع. ما هي yes it looks like a sock، عشان كده هي هتسمعوا هي بتقول the wind sock experiment. Okay, now you are going to listen to what she is saying. ربنا يسهل الصوت واضح. And you should answer these questions alone. And I will pause the video. I will pause the video, and this is how you should do this with your students. يعني احنا هنولع الفيديو. هتخلص for example أول حتة عن engagement. I will pause the video and you write the answer to the first two questions. You see what I mean? Okay. بس أنا مش هطفي بقى النور، أنا كده مولعة كام واحد؟ مش هطفي ده، مش هينفع نطفي النور خالص لأن نشوف.
طب احنا ممكن نطفي اللي في النص ده ونولع.
طب ممكن صحيح.
لا بالعكس بقى. لا اللي هناك.
اللي هناك؟ ده اللي أحسن كتير. طيب. عفريت مفيهاش حاجة. يلا حاولوا ما تتكلموش عشان تسمعوا هي بتقول ايه. She's a kindergarten science teacher.
Engaged is what we did to incorporate that into the lesson is the children developed their windsock, which we're talking about weather. So they got to create that windsock by themselves, and we talked beforehand about the vocabulary and how does that apply to what we're doing. I kind of see what do they already know about weather, and then by creating a windsock, it already gets them into that mode of what am I observing, the tools that I'm using, and how is it going to, predictions I can make about the weather, or how is this going to affect what I've already done.
Okay, now what did she do? Let's answer the first one. What did the teacher do to get them engaged? What did she do to get them engaged? We can discuss it. What did she do to get them engaged?
She make a model.
Okay. Okay, write them down. Write them down.
Develop their windsock, which were
talking about weather.
So they got to create that windsock by themselves, and we talked beforehand about the vocabulary and how does that apply to what we're doing. I kind of see what do they already know about weather, and then by creating a windsock, it already gets them into that mode of what am I observing, the tools that I'm using, and how is it going to, predictions I can make about the weather, or how is this going to affect what I've already learned.
مسطرة أو مسافة نص كده مسطرة.
I allow them to make predictions about what they're going to see when we observe. And I also like to try to get them to tell me, well, what are we going
لا ده اللي قبليه. ده قبليه خالص. لا ده احنا هذا بعد. مش عارفه ايه عفريت.
لا مش عارف تصوير برضه كده احط الفيديو جوه الشريحه.
ما هي محطوطه جوه الشريحه، ما هي محطوطه احنا عاملين حساب. يعني كل حاجه معموله حساب.
الا هنا
مش عارف والله. اوكي ناو كل الاصدقاء الصديقه يجي تاني. Okay, we'll get back to the video at the end of the session. Now, we have something called separating mixtures. Now, separating mixtures, بعمل pause it doesn't want to pause وهو الفيديو الاكتيفيتي عبارة عن pausing دي لا هو ده بس بص اعمل pause بقى
الماوس كان مش لاقيه بس
بص هو دي كده ازاي
عشان كده الحركه دي
لا دلوقتي Okay, now, Malish, I'm very, very sorry. This was something unexpected.
It could have been one of us.
Okay, let's have a little on the first part. Now, the first question says, what did the teacher do to get them engaged? What did she do to get them engaged?
Ask them to do a model
Of the wind song. Very good.
To incorporate that into the lesson is the children develop their wind socks, which we're talking about weather. So they got to create that wind sock by themselves, and we talked beforehand about the vocabulary and how does that apply to what we're doing. I kind of see what do they already know about weather, and then by creating the wind sock, it already gets them into that mode of what am I observing, the tools that I'm using, and how is it gonna, predictions I can make about the weather, or how is this gonna affect what I've already learned. Prior to going outside, I let them know what are we gonna do. I allow them to make predictions about what they're going to see when we observe. And I also like to try to get them to tell me, well, what are we going to use to observe? What part of ourselves are we going to get to use to observe? And so they give me all the answers, and then they took their windsock outside, and we got to observe how the wind was blowing by using the windsock. And so it's really asking them to critically think about what direction the wind is coming from, how is that going to affect, how the windsock is used, and what will they see during that time. So during the explain, we get to come back and discuss, what did we learn? How does that, connect what we've talked about in the gauge, or how does it connect with what they've already learned? A lot of times I like to give them a chance to turn and talk to one another and do some peer learning and see what is your friend think about what we learned, and how is that different from what you've said. The elaborate piece gives the students a chance to apply what they've learned from the explore and also from the engage. And so in this particular lesson, we'll actually be using a reading activity, and that reading activity is going to be an interactive slideshow where we'll read together the different slides, and then we'll get an opportunity to answer questions from the slides. So this actually will help me to also give me another opportunity to see what kids, what terms they are understanding, if there maybe is some vocabulary that we need to go back and redefine, and then, like I said, giving them a chance to say, oh, we learned about this during the engage, there's that word again, and it helps them to think back on the experience they had in the explore and then apply it again. Also, another thing that we can do, and we have done in the evaluate process, is another activity, a more concrete activity that's a more individualized activity. So it's not done in a whole group or with a partner. It's one that the students would do by themselves, like asking them to maybe create something on their own, or even giving them like a project, or sometimes we'll have like a worksheet or something, but it's an individual thing, so I can see concretely that this child is definitely mastering this, or if they're not, let's go back and talk about the things that they've missed.
Okay, now unfortunately I did not do it the way I wanted to do it. This is how you should handle a video in class. You should pause and let them reflect upon what they heard in the video to reinforce information. Otherwise لو انا شغلت فيديو straight away كده، بس احنا عشان يعني احنا حضراتكم كبار، ده كل ده عشان احنا we're learning new strategies. اللي بيحصل ان kids ابتدائي اعدادي ثانوي they would all fall out and lose interest unless it's something that's very entertaining, has nothing to do with any scientific aspect. Okay, but let's reflect on what she said. Now the first thing said, what did the teacher do to get them engaged? She made a windsaw. طبعا a model. This is very very entertaining بالنسبة للkids. أي حاجة فيها hands on. This is very entertaining بالنسبة للkids. وممكن تكون حاجة مش مكلفة نهائي. Number 2, what form of pre-knowledge did she use? Now she put them around her and she was asking them about their vocabulary. Now there is vocabulary regarding wind. We're not going into details, but regarding wind, there is vocabulary. It could be حاجة very simple as strong wind. What does it do to us? Is it pushing us or is it just flipping our hair? أو الطرحة. Do you see what I mean? This is very, very simple vocabulary. She could make them stand outside in the garden and let them see the direction without even using the windsaw. It's just from their sense of feel. So she used the what? Her senses. Not her senses. She made them use their senses. Okay? Now the third question says, how will the teacher use the 5E model of exploration with her students? Now, exploring, like the next activity we're going to do, it has to do with hypothesis. What does a hypothesis mean? Any idea? افتراض. الساينس كله قايم على الافتراض. Biology, chemistry, physics، جميع أفرع الساينس من أول KGs لحد إلى ما لا نهاية كله قايم على prediction. She made them predict, and that's where the second E comes, which is what? Explore. You need to answer this prediction. You need to what? Explore. Okay? What critique are the students using with the windsaw during the exploration? What did she do? She made them stand outside in the garden, hold the model, and check which direction is the wind coming from. Okay? What strategy will she use to elaborate? She said this, unfortunately, كنت أحب جدا الفيديو ده. It's very very informative. بس الصوت مش واضح وكمان كان عندنا عراقيل عنيفة في الموضوع فأنا بتأسف يعني. هي قالت إن هي عملت لهم a simple reading activity لأن هي بتتكلم على KGs, kindergarten. Now this is a very good way. إن هم أساسا برا الكيندرجارتن يعني مثلا لو هم هيتكلموا عن animals تلاقي بيتكلموا عن animals في الساينس وبيتكلموا عليها برضه في الانجليش ولو بيعدوا عشان to know numbers برضه برضه بالانيمالز. You see what I mean? To integrate كله مع بعض. طيب, what does elaboration tell the teacher about the students' learning? When she elaborates and she asks questions هتعرف whether they're responding جابوا الموضوع التارجت بتاع الobjective بتاع الموضوع ولا لا. Why does she evaluate them individually? هي في الآخر قالت why would you want to evaluate them individually? Remember the ranking task, we did it together, بس أنا قلت لكم and it gives me, as if you're the teacher, it gives you an insight about a level بتاع كل واحد واقع فين. Do you see what I mean? So if she witnesses this, it will give her an insight. Or if you give them a question, برضو it will help you with the evaluation part. Now, why do you think the 5E model is so important? Any ideas? From what we just learned, we still have a couple of sessions regarding this, but why is it so important? It's a new strategy. It gets students very, very engaged and wanting to discover rather than being creative, rather than the traditional formal lecturing type of class. Okay? Now, let's move to the next. لا نوجد الحمد لله كده جدا. اوكي استكفينا الحمد لله. الصديق جه والصديق يعني تعب. Now separating stand up for the moment? Okay, very, very simple, ابتدائي kind of elementary, primary experiment of separating mixtures. And these are the tools we are going to use. Now, I want you to put your heads together as groups. We have another ranking task. Remember, a ranking task is a pen paper activity. فقط لا غير. Pen paper, حاجة very, very simple. Now, we have 3 containers, A, B, and C, with the same amount of water. The first one we will add a teaspoon or tablespoon of salt. The second one, the same amount of salt, but with some sand. The third one, we have salt, sand, and iron filings. Now, the question is, now this is what? A ranking task. So what am I going to ask for? There comes the question. Rank the mixtures A, B, C in order from the more separating techniques to the least separating techniques. Yani which one will need more separation and which one will need less separation? Put your heads up together for a minute.
evaporation، الثانية عايزة evaporation، والثالثة عايزة
Okay, did you put your hands up together? Did you put your hands up together? Your hands up together. Okay, now, which one do you think would require the most separating techniques?
The third one.
The third one.
Because the needs 3 methods of separation.
Okay, it needs 3 methods of separation.
Yes.
Which are?
Electric attraction to remove magnetic
It's okay. It's okay.
Magnetic attraction to remove iron filling.
Yes.
Then evaporation. Filtration before to remove sand. After that, we use evaporation to separate water from the salt.
Okay, so most separating techniques will be used in which container? C. Let's check the answer. Okay, so the ranking order is C, B, and A. Any objections? No. You all agree upon this? Okay, let's turn to this page. How can mixtures be separated? That's page 7, please. Page 7. Page 7, please. Now I want you to try and solve this in 2 minutes. I'll count on my watch. 2 minutes. Page 7. Page 7. 2 minutes, please.
بقول لك لاحظوا البروجرس ياخد الساند مده ظرف الساند ممكن تاخد الاول تاخد الصوت هو عايز الصوت ويقول عليها حاجه اسمها ايه؟ اسمها انصار.
هو كان في سيبري بص الخصائص
ما بص بيقول لك الصوت يعني بيدوب في الميه، الساند انسوليبل يعني لا يذوب في الماء، تمام. الايرون فايلينج اتراكت زمان قد الخواص. بعد كده هتجيب الطريقه بتاعت كل واحد.
نعم.
انت عندك ايرون فيجز الاول
خلاص باي ماجنت
اي ماجنت
mixture water and steel
dissolving
sure yes
الفيلينج بس على شكل بوغ زي الكورس كمان شويه لا هي قصده مش بصراحه عامله زي مش خشنه عامله زي البوغ اسمه بوغ هي فيلينج هي ايوه بس
I'm not sure if we have enough license.
it's mine
ده الفيلم ما تعرفش لما نطلع دي سان
yes where is the salt
طب فين الزيت ده؟
اصل الحديد لو هو هيتغير الحديد ما يتغيرش اوكي يبقى انا بقول ان اتش مطر هات اتس بروبيرس خلاص كده صح الحته بقى الثانيه بيقول لك هاو كان ذا ايرن فيلينج فيسيبيليتي فروم ذا ميتيشن دي باي ماجنتيك
لا اللي هو نمبر 3
اهو احنا هنعمل
Please do the experiment and solve the sheet. You should have 3 cups, filter paper, water sand, iron filings,
مفيش
funnel for the filter paper,
ما يجذبش الميه ليه طيب
بس quickly 2 minutes عشان بيعمل لنا أزمة معلش.
لا الفلتر بين المجلس الاول الفلتر عشان الصوت حط من غير ميه الاول
ده كده مش تقدر تفصلهم هي في الاخر بيقول لك ايه انت ووتر هتعدي عليه الميه مش انت الميه
مش كله سيبريت ووتر مش كله عشان هتدوب في الاخر
في الاخر
سيبريت ووتر فروم ميكستشر طيب ساعة كده
يس
عملت التجربه دي كمان فاكر مثلا يوم ما صدعنا
بص يا استاذ نسرين
ايوه
دي بقى نصيحه مني
ايوه
الفلتر بيبر دي انواع فيها 3 مايكرون احنا جايبين
كبير
واحده
عليا بصراحه
احنا جايبين واحده ايه صغيره فعشان كده ما تنزلش حاجه
يعني دقيقه زياده عن اللزوم
المايكرون تبقى عاليه
بس كنت كمية اصغر
انت حاطط كميه كبيره من الميه فعلا لا
بيجا موت
عايزين كوبايه ثانيه
عشان
مفيش صوت
المفروض يبقى في صوت It's okay يعني الصوت اصلا نتيجته معروفه Theoretical sheet while doing this so we don't waste time because break is in like around 10 minutes time.
ممكن نعمل التجربة احنا كمان
عدد انا فاكره ان انتوا هتبقوا فور جروبس فدول لوحدهم
خلاص
بس ممكن تستلفوا
لا خلاص
انا بعتذر Okay, let's get back to this. لا ما عندناش سرينج هي مش المفروض التجربة ان احنا نعملها بالظبط بس يعني هتاخد وقت
وبرضه هتنزل برضه
معلش اتس اوكي احنا في نهايه الامر احنا عارفين ايه النتيجه هي الادريه هي الفكره اوكي بليز okay break is in 10 minutes time okay now the first one says I'm sorry if you don't know what this excuse me it's good if we listen to one another okay a strainer is المصفى okay you managed
Yes. That is I am feeling from water.
oh nice oh
It's very yes.
very nice very nice
Okay.
okay
I told them so, but it's great.
okay number 2
تعالى هتطلع على القناه بتاعتك
ممكن نسمع بعض؟ ممكن نسمع بعض من فضلكم؟ منال؟ هنا في منال كتير أنا عارفة منال كتير في المنطقة. Okay, number 2 it says describe the physical properties of the materials in the mixture. Now, of course, the physical properties. What are we going to say? Sand is what?
Doesn't dissolve in water.
Now, how can we describe sand? It's very, we call it in English, عشان نقول خشن, ما هو زي salt. It's very coarse. Coarse. Okay? And salt has small crystals. Salt has small crystals. This is something you can do for the today stage. It's very, very easy. Yes. And you have iron filings are silver rods. What's a rod? هو ده النوع ده it's not a rod actually. النوع ده عامل زي البلي like marbles صغيرة صح؟ بس we have other iron filings اللي هم زي اللي في الصورة. Now نحطهم على الباوربوينت اهم. Now دول اللي هم بيكونوا
iron field.
مشرطين كده اوكي؟ بس اللي جايين اللي احنا بنستخدمه النهارده is marble more or less. Okay, how can the iron filings be separated from the mixture? By the magnet. Now, how can salt be separated from the mixture? Now, this is something we can't do right now. This is by evaporation, of course. If we adding the mixture to water and stir, did the salt separate from the mixture?
Yes.
Did it separate when you stirred? No.
No.
Okay, how can you relate salt to a real life experience? عندنا في بلادنا الجميلة العين السخنة والغردقة حيث إن sea water is full of salt. If you swim أول ما الواحد يطلع من المية يلاقي وشه إيه؟ مغير من إيه؟ من الملح. وحتى لما نحط إيدينا يعني ممكن واحد يجي وشه من كتر ما هو يبقى ملح عنيف. Okay, you can relate this to real life. Drain the water, run a magnet over the mixture. What happens? It will attract all the iron filings. Now, let's drop the sheets for now. How does this apply to the 5D model? What do we do as traditional teachers? Was it the ranking task or this sheet?
What?
Now, as teachers, remember we said our comfort zone lies فين؟ فين؟ which is الموضوع كله عن الإيز explanation and elaboration. A sheet like this falls under which ease? Explanation and elaboration. But when I gave you the ranking task on the very same idea, what did we do? We engage. Now, after doing this, you should be introducing mixtures. For example, we are not talking about the scientific content. Now, after introducing this, what did we really do? We introduced the ranking task على نفس الموضوع. We introduced the engagement part and the exploration part. This is where we did what? Explaining and elaborating. So by the end of the fourth E, you should be done with the scientific content. Then you come to evaluating, which is evaluating the scientific concept about mixtures and physical properties. Do you get the point? So did this apply to the 5D model or not? Yes. Okay, but instead of explaining, physical properties is blah, 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 blah. Mixtures are blah, blah, blah. Let's do the experiment. You see how we did it? Okay. Now, turn to the next one. We have chemical changes. Let's do this quickly. الترابيزة كل واحد؟
لو النبي
كل واحد بقى.
Now, لا ده احنا now I want you هيركز معانا انتوا الاثنين. معلش الكرم الناحية الثانية. Okay, now this is all about calcium, a chemical change. Now we are going to do this. Take a look at the board. Take a look at the board. This is a chalk and vinegar experiment. Now this is very, very simple. It could be applied in all elementary stages. All elementary stages. ودي حاجة شبه اللي قالتها مس منى, but release of carbon dioxide with not yeast, with chalk. Calcium carbonate. Okay, pay attention. Excuse me, let's listen to one another, please.
Okay.
Okay, I'll give you some vinegar. Now, you have okay, you will use your index card and do 3 things. Number 1, هنشخبط في حتة كده. We will scribble with the color chalk by the side, but lightly. Lightly. يعني بخفة. Number 2, you will do this, but a bit harder. Number 3, you will do this, but very, very hard. Okay? And then you will drop 1 or 2 drops of vinegar and see where most Can we listen to one another, please?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, rank the index cards. Can we listen to one another, please?
Yes.
Thank you. We will rank the index cards A, B, C. A is where you have chalk as the lightest.
Yes.
B, the middle one, which is a bit harder. 3 is the hardest. You should have a lot of chalk on the paper. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you have, I'll give you some vinegar, and you put drops of vinegar.
عايزاه خد خد يا باشا.
ممكن أصلا بس أنا
بعد كده
بتحط رز.
Okay, now I want you to drop a few drops, and each and every one. في واحد اهو بس الترابيزه كلها. معلش. معلش معلش انا اسفه. Okay. A few drops. This is for the entire table. معلش I only have 3 droppers. And I want you to come up with the answer. Which one is the most effervescent to the least effervescent? Is it the one where you did it lightly, harder, or hardest? Foran means effervescent. Which one does most effervescent? The hardest. Oh, you want the
حضرتك عاوزه موجة يعني ولا ايه؟
معلش. Number C. Number C is the right. Okay, is this a ranking task? Is this a ranking task, everyone? Yes, absolutely. ABC. Which one is the most effervescent to the least effervescent? Okay, let's pay attention. Which one is the break time is around the corner? Which one is the most effervescent? C is the most. Can we listen to one another, please? Can we listen to one another, please? Next cards, ABC. Of course, obviously, the one which gave you the most effervescent, oops, I'm sorry, is what? C, where you did it really, really hard because of the maximum. You have a lot of calcium carbonate on the index card, and then you have B and then A. Is this a ranking task? Yes. Is this an engagement activity regarding the 5E model? Yes, it is. Okay. Take a look at page 8. Page 8. Break time is around the corner. Page 8, please. Page 8. Now, chemical changes. Record any observable physical changes. This is regarding this. What are the observable physical changes? When we did this, instead of having chalk as a stick, it became what on the paper?
Powder.
Powder. Okay, so this is a physical change. Is he talking about the carbon dioxide in this question?
No.
Carbon dioxide is a what change?
Chemical.
It's a chemical change. Write down your observation adding vinegar to the chalk. What did you notice? Effervescence. Now, is this experiment a physical or chemical change? Certainly, it's a chemical change. Chemical change. What do you think will happen? Now, this is, we can't say it's a critical thinking question. It's not up to the standard, but it's something which falls under exploration, which is, what do you think will happen if you add the same amount of vinegar to more chalk? The same amount of vinegar. يعني أنا قطرت بالقطارة 1 or 2 drops. نفس ال 1 or 2 drops بس أنا كترت الchalk. لا ده كلام عميق، احنا ما اتفقناش على كده. احنا هنتكلم على عامة اللي احنا شايفينه. The same, would you have more bubbles or less bubbles? You would definitely have more bubbles. You would definitely have more bubbles. Okay, so this falls in which category of the 5 E's? The one we did right now. Elaboration, and the one before it, explanation, which is everybody's comfort zone, including myself. Okay? We all do this. So, as teachers, you notice that the 5E instructional model, عشان احنا ناس عظيمة, we already apply how many classes? 3. The last 3. Okay? So what is our target today from this session and the next 2 sessions? Engaging and thank you very much. Okay? Now, next thing is is it break time? Yes. Okay. Let's break. Okay. Thank you.